And for more on today's developments, I'm joined now by Robin Wright, a fellow at the Woodrow Wilson Centre and writer for The New Yorker. The president says that there are many options short of war with Iran, Robin, as he trails new sanctions against Iran. But what are the options?
Well, I think there are four different options. One is for the United States to impose new sanctions, as the president has suggested he's going to do. Not that they'll make a huge difference, but anything that chips away a little bit more at Iran's economy will be hurtful. He can go to the United Nations and look for support in condemning Iran's role in all of this, and perhaps getting other countries that are still signatories to the nuclear deal to rethink their positions, particularly on sanctions and maybe on the broader issue. It can involve itself in some kind of kinetic response, but it can also support the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia if it decides to retaliate against Iran.
Okay, so the US Secretary of State is in Riyadh now, but the Saudis have invited UN experts and international experts, haven't they, to try and find out who was behind the attack. So which of those options seems most likely to you?
I think for now, there one other one, and that's the cyber, trying to get at Iran and to send a message, look, we can get back at you in ways that may not be visible to the world, but will hurt you. So I think that we'll see sanctions. I suspect whether there'll be some kind of secret cyber activity, and I suspect the president will use very strong language at the UN to try to mobilize support for whatever either the kingdom or the United States decides to do. Not kinetic action fast. The president has repeatedly said he doesn't want a war. And I think for now, he's probably looking at other options first.
What about the Iranians, though? They desperately want sanctions relief. Have they given up on the Europeans being able to deliver, and is that why they've gone down this path?
Well, we still don't know the launch site. We don't know whether this is Iran launching the missiles and drones from Iranian territory or whether they were through proxies. The United States and the Saudis have both said Iran sponsored them, but that's still a little murky. So that's one of the reasons international monitors and investigators are being brought in, so they can look at the forensics of this attack. The Iranians clearly want some kind of relief on sanctions in order to engage with the United States. But if they're responsible for what is an unprecedented attack, disabling half of Saudi Arabia's oil production, they're also sending a strong signal, whether directly or through others, that crippling Iran, trying to corner Iran, will come at a heavy price.
So all the diplomatic action next week will be at the United Nations. If President Rouhani gets a visa, he'll be there. Is it possible a de-escalation comes out of that?
I think President Trump wants to de-escalate. The question is, how do you do that? And who do you engage with? And what is the mechanism? They haven't talked to each other since the nuclear deal was implemented, at least formally. And the presidents haven't met in the 40 years since the Iranian Revolution. So it's finding, can the French pull this off? Can they broker some kind of freeze for a freeze to at least open the way to de-escalate? There's an awful lot at stake, and we're kind of at a precipice. Either we're going to go down the tubes into something really dire, or there's a pullback and an attempt to revive a diplomacy.
And what about the idea that the Iranians sense weakness in the American position because they know that President Trump called off that potential strike on them after they attacked the drone in June?
Well, Trump reportedly did engage in a cyber attack against Iran, again, to send a message. So the Iranians know that the United States is the most powerful country on earth, and they have a strong, proud tradition, and they're exerting themselves once again. But I don't think they see weakness in the United States. I actually think that there has been an attempt quietly to see if there's any common ground, particularly on the nuclear issue and missiles, that the two countries could at least keep the door a little bit ajar to diplomacy. It's still a little bit ajar, but there's not much light coming through that door.
Robin Wright, thanks for being with us.